Growing up, I always felt like the underdog. My brother, the golden child, seemed to have it all figured out. From perfect grades to the admiration of our parents, he thrived in the limelight while I was often cast into the shadows. I can still hear his voice ringing in my ears, mocking my dreams and declaring I would never achieve anything. "You really think you can make a name for yourself?" he'd sneer, with that condescending smirk plastered across his face. Those words stung, cutting deeper than a knife. Despite the relentless doubts from my family, I was determined to prove him wrong. Each failure only fueled my fire, pushing me harder to carve out my own future. I remember long nights, working multiple jobs while trying to pursue my passions. The smell of stale coffee and the cool glow of computer screens became my constant companions. I knew I was fighting an uphill battle, but with every tiny success, I felt the weight of my brother's disdain slowly lift. Fast forward a decade, and my life had taken unexpected turns. I became a single parent to a bright boy named Oliver. A little bundle of energy. He had my heart wrapped around his tiny finger since the moment he entered this world. I could see something special in him, a spark that made me believe that perhaps, just perhaps, I was doing something right after all. Still, I couldn't shake the ghost of my brother's doubt. It loomed larger than I liked to admit. One sunny afternoon, we settled at our kitchen table, papers strewn about as we made plans for his college savings. The warm smell of pizza wafted through the air, and I could hear the soft chatter of neighbors outside. Just as I flipped through his bank statements, my heart sank. I had expected to see small numbers, evidence of a cautious teen stashing away birthday cash and holiday gifts. But as I squeezed my eyes shut and took a breath, the figures before me made my stomach twist with disbelief. "Oliver, what? Where did this come from?" I stuttered, pointing at the statement displaying a sum far greater than I expected. My heart raced as I looked at him, unsure if I should be worried or proud. With a wide grin, he replied, "I've been investing, Mom. Remember all those nights we talked about money and savings? I thought I could try it out myself." My world tilted at that moment. Had he really grasped the values I tried to instill, transforming my struggles into motivation? I couldn't help but feel a mix of pride and disbelief wash over me. I recalled all the times my brother mocked my ambitions, every laugh echoing in my head, now juxtaposed against the reality in front of me. Investing? How on earth did you learn to do that? I leaned closer, needing to hear every word. "I've been watching videos, reading articles. I didn't want to just save. I wanted to make my money work for me." His confidence was palpable, and suddenly I felt that familiar fire starting to ignite within me again. This wasn't just about Oliver's finances. It was a moment of validation, the culmination of all my efforts manifesting in the brilliant mind of my son. As I stared at the numbers on the statement, a wave of realization hit me. I had achieved something beyond my brother's expectations. This wasn't just about success. It was about rewriting our family narrative and breaking free from the chains of doubt that had confined me for so long. Before we delved deeper into Oliver's journey, I need to pause for a moment. If you're enjoying this story and can relate to the struggles of overcoming doubt, make sure to double-check your subscription and hit that like button to support the channel. We have more compelling chapters coming up that you won't want to miss. As I sat there with Oliver, stunned by what I had just discovered, I couldn't shake the thought of what my brother would say. He would never have expected this, not from me, and certainly not from my son. But as they say, every tale has its twists, and this was just the beginning. What would happen when my brother found out? Would he still mock my journey, or could he finally see the truth? The next chapter loomed, and I couldn't wait to uncover it. As I sat at the kitchen table, the sunlight streaming through the window seemed to dance upon the papers scattered around. However, my mind was racing, consumed by the revelation in front of me. Oliver, my sweet, inquisitive boy, had taken the initiative, turning his financial dreams into reality. I could hardly wrap my head around it. The aroma of pizza still lingered, mixing with a strange rush of adrenaline and pride. Investing, I repeated, trying to digest his words. That's incredible, Oliver, but how do you know what to invest in? I leaned forward, the surface of the table cool and almost calming against my fingertips as I searched his face for answers. I watched a lot of YouTube videos, Mom, he said, his eyes shining with excitement. There are so many about stocks and how to make money. I thought, why not try? I had some birthday money saved and I wanted to see how far it could go. I felt a swell of emotion in my chest. Here was my son, taking steps toward a financial future I had only dreamed of at his age. The contrast between what my brother always said about me and my own son's ambition felt like a lightning bolt striking my heart. I never had someone to teach me that, I confessed, surprised by my own vulnerability. How did you know it would work? Honestly, I didn't, but if I didn't try, I'd never know, right? His grin was infectious, and I found myself smiling back, pride bursting within me like fireworks. The chatter of our neighbors outside faded into the background. The world outside seemed to blur as this unexpected moment drew me in closer. You're teaching me just as much as I hope to teach you, I said, a soft laugh escaping my lips. This is incredible. But just as that wave of joy washed over me, doubt crept in again, echoing my brother's taunts. What if it was all just a fluke? I pushed those thoughts aside, willing to let this moment stand alone for now. So, what's your plan going forward? I asked, urging myself to lean into the excitement rather than the fear. Well, he began, I was thinking I could reinvest some of the profits. I'm already looking into new stocks. I want to keep learning about it. It's fascinating. Fascinating, I echoed, my mind swirling. Investing had always seemed so daunting, a world where I felt inadequate. But listening to him transformed it into an adventure. What kind of stocks are you looking at? He started outlining his ideas, words tumbling out of him in a stream of confidence. Tech stocks are trending right now, and I saw this one company that makes electric cars. I think that's the future. I couldn't help but laugh, delighted by the spark of innovation lighting up his young face. You know, your uncle would probably hate hearing this. The thought of my brother's reaction sent a shiver down my spine. Would he finally acknowledge that maybe I hadn't failed after all? This success felt so close, yet so precariously balanced on the knife edge of my family's history. Just then, Oliver's phone buzzed on the table, breaking my reverie. He picked it up and with a quick glance, his eyes widened. Mom, can you believe it? One of the stocks I invested in just skyrocketed in price. His voice was electric, and I felt a rush of hope bloom anew. Skyrocketed? My heart raced alongside his excitement. Could this be the turning point for our family narrative? I've got to tell my friends. He jumped up, his energy contagious, already moving toward the door. Wait, I called after him, concern creeping into my voice. Let's celebrate this first. We'll call it our stock party. Deal, he shouted, dashing back to give me a quick hug, and just like that, he disappeared into the whirlwind of youth and ambition. As I looked back at that bank statement, a pulse of realization struck me. This wasn't just about what Oliver had accomplished. It was a reflection of everything I had fought for. A chance to rise against my brother's shadows. I could almost hear his smirk from a distance, but now I felt ready to face it. Before we continue unraveling this thrilling chapter of our lives, I have a small request. If you're finding inspiration in this story just as I did, ensure that you're still subscribed to the channel and give it a thumbs up. Your support means the world, and trust me, You won't want to miss what's coming next. With those thoughts swirling in my mind, I sat back, eager yet anxious about where this new path would lead us. As I glanced at the door Oliver had just rushed out of, a question lingered in my thoughts. What would happen when my brother caught wind of all this? Would he see Oliver's achievements as proof of my capabilities, or would the mockery return? The next chapter promised to unveil truths I wasn't sure I was ready to face. As I stared at the front door, still echoing with the remnants of Oliver's exuberance, my heart danced between fear and pride. The sunlight streamed in, casting a warm glow over the kitchen table, illuminating the scattered papers that had become my life's soundtrack. The lingering scent of melting cheese and crisp crust from our pizza dinner mingled with the fresh breeze seeping through the window, a delightful reminder of simpler times. But tonight was anything but simple. "Oliver, wait!" I called out, stopping him in his tracks just as he was about to dash outside. "What about celebrating your first big win? This is monumental." He paused, a bright smile lighting up his face. "Can we really, Mom? Like a real party?" "Absolutely," I replied, turning the tides of doubt into a moment of family joy. "Let's invite a couple of your friends. This deserves a spotlight." Oliver was practically bouncing on his heels. "I can tell them about my investments. They'll think I'm so cool." I chuckled, watching his youthful enthusiasm. "Oh, they will. And let's whip up some homemade cupcakes. You can show them your bank statement too. It'll blow their minds." His eyes sparkled with ideas. "Yeah, I want to show them how I figured it out from YouTube. Do you think they'd be interested in stocks?" "Definitely. You're becoming a little finance expert," I replied, feeling the pride swell within me. A sudden thought crossed my mind, causing a slight shiver to run down my spine. "Just remember, Oliver, it's important to stay humble and open to learning, no matter how well you do." His innocent nod gave me a sense of comfort, but deep down, a nagging concern about my brother resurfaced. My thoughts drifted back to those taunting comments from my brother. "You'll never achieve anything in life," he'd said, flinging the words like daggers. I had spent so long trying to prove him wrong, and here was my son doing exactly what I had only dreamed of. Would my brother's skepticism turn into grudging respect, or would he dismiss Oliver just like he dismissed me? "Ready?" Oliver's voice snapped me back to the moment. "Absolutely, let's make some memories," I said, excitement replacing my gloom. As we sped through the preparations, I found the joy of seeing my son's ambition eclipsing the shadows that once haunted me. Every laugh, every shared idea felt monumental, not just for him, but for me, too. We were on the brink of something beautiful. After invites were sent and our cupcake batter was diligently mixed, I couldn't shake the feeling of unease. "Hey, Oliver," I ventured, glancing over at him diligently pouring sprinkles into the icing. "What if your uncle comes to the party?" His eyebrow furrowed, a mix of confusion and confidence. "I mean, he might. Why? What if he doesn't understand? He's the kind of person who doesn't support investments. He thinks it's silly. Mom, it's my success. If he doesn't understand it, that's on him, not me. I'm allowed to be proud of what I've done." His words sent a rush of warmth through me. This was his journey, not mine. I had to remind myself that Oliver's achievements were no reflection of my past failures, but rather a blooming future unburdened by family taunts. The sunset painted the walls a fiery orange as I prepared the last few touches to our environment of celebration. The doorbell rang, signaling the arrival of a few of Oliver's friends. Laughter erupted throughout the small kitchen, and for a moment, it felt like a cocoon of safety, wrapping around us like a warm blanket. But as the joyous lightheartedness engulfed us, My phone buzzed with a notification. My heart sank as I saw the name flashing across the screen. My brother. Could he sense something? Would he know about Oliver's success before I had a chance to share it? As I glanced at Oliver, surrounded by friends and joy, I felt a surge of defiance. This was our moment, and I would allow no negativity to creep in. Before we dive deeper into this riveting chapter full of choices, challenges, and perhaps unexpected visitors, I must ask you a favor. If this journey has resonated with you, take a second to check if you're still subscribed and throw us a like. Your support really fuels our inspiration, and you definitely won't want to miss the twists and turns that lie ahead. With my heart racing, I turned back to the celebration, knowing that an intriguing confrontation was looming on the horizon. How would my brother react to the unfolding celebration, and would I have the courage to stand my ground? Only time would tell, but one thing was for sure. I wasn't going to let his shadows dim the brilliance of Oliver's light. What other challenges awaited us in the next chapter? As the celebration kicked into high gear, laughter bounced off the walls, filling the kitchen with a sense of warmth I hadn't felt in years. Oliver's friends, bubbling with excitement, crowded around the cupcakes, their chatter creating a cheerful orchestra. I glanced at Oliver, blissfully animated, sharing his investment tales. But just then, a heavy weight pressed onto my chest as I remembered my brother. Would he show up? "Hey, Mom," Oliver called, pulling me from my thoughts. "Can I show them the bank statement?" "Of course, buddy, but remember to keep it light. We want to inspire, not intimidate," I replied, a nervous flutter stirring in my belly. As they gazed at the paper in awe, I felt that flicker of pride. My heart soared, but deep down, I feared how my brother would react if he learned about this. "They might not understand," I whispered to myself, trying to ignore the simmer of doubt. Suddenly, my phone buzzed again. Another message from my brother. My palms grew sweaty as I hesitated to check it. What would he say this time? Would he rehash his dismissive taunts? I had to know. Before diving into that revelation, if you're enjoying this roller coaster ride of triumph and tensions, double check that you're subscribed and throw us a like. Trust me, you won't want to miss the explosive confrontation lurking just ahead. As I clicked on the message, bracing for impact, I thought, would this be the moment I stand up for my family's new narrative? Or would the shadows creep back in? The room buzzed with laughter, yet my heart thudded uneasily as I scrolled through my brother's message. There it was, his familiar arrogance piercing through. "You really think you can teach him?" For a moment I faltered. Then Oliver, full of joy, caught my eye. "Mom, it's all real. Look," he beamed, his friends echoing his excitement. And in that moment, I found my voice. Yes, he can, and he will. With newfound resolve, I hit reply. Would our family finally rewrite the story? Make sure to subscribe for what comes next. You won't want to miss the fallout.